Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Wednesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. And you know what Wednesdays mean. They mean we're talking wrestling with Gary Altizer. Gary, how we doing today, bud?
I'm doing real well. How are you guys?
We're doing good. Ty, I don't want to speak for you. You doing good?
Oh yeah, doing real good. I mean, we're just weeks away, literally about a week away from the start of girls tournaments, wrestling tournaments getting ready to start, boys basketball tournaments getting ready to start. It's tournament time for winter sports.
Yeah, we were talking to Gary before we went on the air, and wrestling kind of has like a two-prong tournament where you have the state duels for a team, and then you have, the stuff at the end of the season for individual qualification in the state as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique format. The state started this a couple years ago. They've been really pushing duels on teams and on coaches. They want to build up the duel format where it's one team versus another rather than focusing so much on tournaments. Because let's be honest, when it's one team versus another, that's how what's built, rivalries. And what do rivalries drive? They drive interest. What does interest drive? Numbers. And numbers drives spectators, and spectators drive popularity. And it's just a good thing to do. It's a great tournament, and you get to really see it's a different as a coach. Coaching a duel is much different than coaching in a tournament. You can really you can see where some coaches will just out-coach another coach in a duel, whereas if they were to wrestle in a tournament against each other, the team that lost could outscore them by 100 points. But in a duel, it's a lot different where you can bump guys around, you can move guys. There's a strategy with picking odd or even. So what that means is the referee will have this little like felt bag with these small pucks in them that will have each weight class on them, and they will draw a number out of there. Whatever the number is the weight class you will start at. So depending on what weight class you start at, you pick odd or even. In other words, if I pick odd, I want to send out the first weight class, the third weight class, I'll send my kid out first. So there's an advantage to either doing that, taking the odd to send out first, or taking even to send out second, fourth, so you can see at certain weight classes who they're sending out, and then you can pick which one of your kids you have the options of sending to send out against that kid. So you'll see that kind of stuff when it comes to dual meets, and the state just really wanted to push it and make it more meaningful. So then they made these regional dual tournaments, and the winner of the regional dual tournament will qualify for the state dual tournament, which is the top 8 teams in the state. And we've got several in the YSN network who did that over the weekend.
Yeah, in Division 2, we have 2 of them, Beaver Local and Louisville, both going to be in this bracket. Louisville, the 2 seed, Beaver Local, the 6, I believe. And
Right.
You talk about those 2 matchups, and they could meet up with each other if they both win.
Right, yeah. Beaver Local has a really tall task, though. So they're the 6th seed. They did a great job. They beat Sheridan. They beat Carrollton as well. They won the regional that Steubenville Big Red was in, and they're always a really great team. So they took care of business. I think they won pretty comfortably in one of those, and the other one, it came down to like one match. But they open up with Aurora, and I was just doing a little bit of research right before we got on the show. Aurora has 11 state-ranked kids. And as a team, for the individual and the season tournament, they're ranked 2nd in the state. Of those 11 ranked kids, 7 are predicted to place, 2 are predicted to be state champs, and 3 more are ranked in the top 10. So they really don't have many holes at all. And of those 7 that are predicted to place, I believe 5 of them were in the top 4 or 5. So it's going to be a tough match for them. They've met in the past. They met at this same exact tournament a couple years ago, where both teams had amazing teams, and Aurora was able to come out on top. Beaver Local won their regional, and I believe that they did some shuffling around the guys to bump around, doing exactly what I was talking about to try to win, but that Aurora team's got a ton of firepower. So it'll be interesting to see what this Beaver Local team does. They're a really young team. There's a lot of freshmen starting for that Beaver team, so for them to even get to this point is saying something.
Gary, we've checked in with you occasionally every few weeks about like what teams are doing at this point of the season. If you're not having the best season, what are you doing? How are you preparing for end of season? Well, now that it's getting this close now, what do you see teams doing? What are you doing as a coach for your guys, just trying to shore things up for the postseason run?
So personally, what we do is towards the end of the season, we kind of back off at practice. So the beginning of the season, we're in there for 2 hours, sometimes 2.5 hours a day. And then as we get to the middle of the season, it's about 2 hours. And now we're down to about an hour and a half or so of practice. Because at this point, we've kind of went through all the things we needed to go through to get them ready as far as an everyday basis goes. Now we try to kind of focus on each kid and what they need to do. We're kind of just trying to maintain our weight. We're trying to maintain our cardio, and we're just trying to sharpen things up. So we're not killing them in practice. We're trying to just stay in shape, keep their minds focused, but also keep them refreshed as time goes on. And you'll see a lot of teams, a lot of coaches will, if there are things on the schedule this late in the year, like if there's a tournament, which there aren't many, there's hardly any right now in February. There are really almost none outside of maybe league tournaments. But you'll see coaches who will hold guys back, maybe sit them out something. If they've got some nagging injury, or maybe they've just wrestled a ton over these, the first 3 quarters of the season or so, they might just start to give them a break and kind of back off a little bit, because right now you'll see the teams who have great teams, like dual teams like Beaver, Louisville, South Range, they're kind of seeing how they can plug guys in to win these duels. And the guys who are focused on the postseason tournament, the individual tournament, they'll be backing guys off because they know that that's their main focus right now. And whatever they have at the end of the season, whether it's a league tournament, a makeup tournament, or some duels, it's not as important to them as the sectional, district, and state tournament.
All right, now we go back to that Division II tournament, though, because you mentioned Louisville. They're the 2 seed, but they don't have just a cupcake matchup in the first round either. I mean, everyone kind of deserves to be here. You can't sleep on anyone. Talk about who they're going to match up with and what they'll have to do to win that match.
Yeah, so they're wrestling Miami Trace, and anybody in Ohio who knows high school wrestling has heard of that team, Miami Trace. They're not around here. I believe they're on the other side of the state, so I don't know much about them, but that team, they have a great tradition there. I would not be surprised if they have just as many state-ranked kids as Louisville, or if they don't, they're probably not going to have any holes there. So, yeah, Louisville's the 2nd seed. They'll take on Miami Trace. I'm looking at the bracket now as a 7th seed. Beaver's the 6th seed, and Aurora the 3rd seed. So the winner of those first 2 matches will meet each other. So Beaver Local and Louisville could meet up in the state semifinals. And then if that happens, the winner of that will wrestle the winner of the top half of the bracket, which is Graham, St. Paris Graham. That is a nationally ranked team, consistently nationally ranked in the top 5 or 10 in the country. And that is a public school. St. Paris Graham, it sounds like a private school, but the name of the town is actually St. Paris. So it's Graham High School. They put out, I can't tell you how many national Division I college All-Americans. They've got national champions. They're just great wrestler after great wrestler that's went there. They wrestle Wilmington, and then Massillon Perry wrestles Ashland in the bottom half of that top set of teams at the top half of the bracket. So it's probably going to be Graham. Graham and Louisville met in the state finals in this tournament. I believe it was in 2020. And it came down to the final match, the heavyweight match, and Louisville's heavyweight was able to win with a pin, I think, to get them the win in the state championship. It was a pretty exciting duel. So it'll be interesting to see if those two can have a rematch of that since there was no tournament last year because of COVID. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. And like I said, I'm really interested to see what this young Beaver local team can do. They are young, but they do have a lot of depth there. And Anthony and I were talking about some kids like Dorian Jackson, who's really stepped it up this year. He's been a real key cog, and they've got, I believe, 8 seniors on this team. 5 of them are heavy hitters for them. So it's a mix of young kids and experienced kids. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Talking about them being a young team, I mean, we always talk about with sports how amazing it is to see freshmen at varsity levels be able to compete with varsity level talent coming in from 8th grade to freshman year. We talk about it with the basketball season all the time, but talk about it from the wrestling level, Gary, and how impressive it is to see freshmen coming in from the middle school and these younger kids coming in and having success at the varsity level.
Yeah, I mean, it happens sometimes. Usually, if you're a freshman, especially in the upper weights. So when I say upper weights, I mean basically from like 150 on through heavyweight. It's just a lot harder for those kids because they're not physically as mature. So they'll usually have a harder time. But I know that Beaver's probably got 3 or 4 younger guys. I'm not sure if they're all freshmen in that top half, but a couple at least who are doing well for them. And then the bottom half of the weights, the bottom 7 from like 144 down to 106, those, let's say from 126 to 144, those are still really tough weight classes, but you will see more freshmen and sophomores there. And then 106 and 113, those are 2 weight classes that you do see freshmen and sophomores more than you probably see juniors or seniors, or at least just as much. So for a freshman to come in and do well, regardless of the weight class, he or she has to be a very talented wrestler. And if you are in the upper weights and a freshman and doing having a great season, then you've got a really bright future ahead of you.
Now we go down in Division 3, where South Range is the 1 seed in their bracket. And when I'm looking at this bracket, I have it up. The one thing that I noticed that I mean, people that are casual wrestling fans or not fans of the sport might not realize, the whole bracket's going to be played on March 1st. There's no like, hey, you get 2 days off, then you'll go and match up with the next team. It's, you know, South Range has their first matchup at 9 a.m. on March 1st. And then, hey, March 1st at 10:30 a.m., it's their next opponent. And then March 1st at 4:30, that's when they go into the championship of the bracket. There's no rest for the weary if you win your first, if you keep winning. You have to keep going the whole day.
Oh, yeah, so these are going to happen this Saturday on February 12th. That's actually Matt 1. I know it looks like it says.
Oh, I thought it was.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was March. I was like, wait a minute, that's a long way off.
Yeah. So it's happening this Saturday, and they get Liberty Center. That's another team that wrestling fans will know as the 8th seed. Then they get a winner of Marion Pleasant and Barnesville. Okay, Barnesville is in our conference, Wellsville's conference in the OVAC. We actually wrestled them last year. They've been regional champs for probably 3 or 4 years now. South Range and Barnesville met 2 years ago in the regional tournament. I believe it was the regional tournament of the state tournament. And if not, it might have been a regular season now that I think about it. But it was a very close match, and South Range won. So it'll be interesting to see if those two meet up again. In the bottom half of the bracket, there's Ravenna Southeast, who is the EOWL team down there at the 7th seed. So there's a couple of EOWL teams here in the Division 3 bracket. We know South Range in the YSN network. Southeast wrestles Milan Edison. All these names in both Division 2 or 3 are very familiar names in the wrestling community. They have a lot of great traditions here. So Southeast wrestles Milan Edison. And then the number 3 team is Versailles. They wrestle Brookville. Versailles beat South Range in the 2020, I believe, state duels tournament in a close match. I believe it come down to 1 match or 2. So South Range getting the 1 seed. That's a lot of respect for them from the Coaches Association, who's putting on this tournament this year, as the OHSAA, because of COVID, did not want to. They were too worried about the individual tournament, I guess. So they wanted to let the Coaches Association do this. But for South Range to get that 1 seed, that's showing a lot of respect, and I think that they deserve it. They don't have any holes in their team, and they beat a Waynedale team. This Waynedale team if I don't know if Tyler Anthony, how many wrestling rooms you guys have been in your life, but the Waynedale wrestling room looks like a college wrestling room. And that community loves wrestling. They breathe wrestling. Their coach has won an unreal amount of duels in his career. So South Range was able to come through and beat them. I believe it came down to the heavyweight match, and their heavyweight Michael Lally, I believe, pinned his kid in that match to win the match. If he didn't pin him, he won the match to win. So that's really saying something for them to be able to beat Waynedale and come in. And I'm betting you right now, the fact that they beat Waynedale was the reason they got that number 1 seed.
You look at it and, we talked about Barnesville and the close matchups that they've had with South Range in the past, but they're the 5 seed playing the 4. I mean, I imagine that might be one of the closest matchups in the first round there. I mean, Marion Pleasant versus Barnesville, 4 versus 5. No, really, you can't really say for sure who South Range would play if they won their first match.
Yeah, you're right. Marion Pleasant, a great tradition. I'm going to look here real quick to see just how many state-ranked kids they have, because they are, let's see, they got a number 4 ranked kid at 138. They've got another ranked kid at 144. It looks like they've got, oh my gosh, 12 ranked kids here. Wow. A 157 ranked kid. A 165 is in the top 4. 175 is number 5. 190 is number 10. 215 is number 3. So they're ranked actually 3rd right now in Division 3 in the individual tournament. So that is not going to be an easy feat for Barnesville. But Barnesville does have a team similar to South Range where they have no holes in their lineup, and they've got kids at every weight class that can win matches, and they've got several kids ranked high in the state.
Look at this. Ty, you can go. I'm sorry.
No, go on, Anthony.
I was just going to ask, when you look at this bracket, who you think the biggest threat is to South Range? I mean, the easy answer is the 2 seed, but are there other teams in this bracket that you think could be the biggest threat to the Raiders in their hopes to win the bracket?
Well, Milan Edison, that would be the easy choice, but Versailles, that's another one. We were talking before the show started about Aurora and what a great, sports tradition they have there in just about every sport. Well, Versailles is the same thing. When I was a kid, Wellsville made it to the state championship game in Division 5, and we got beat by Versailles. And ever since then, everybody from Wellsville kind of isn't surprised when they see Versailles do something well in any sport. But they've been good at wrestling for a very long time. They also field some good basketball teams, and their football team is still consistently great every year. So that would be the team that kind of I would look out for. I don't know anything about the Brookville team. Not really heard much about them. But if anyone but Milan Edison gets to the finals, I'm going to bet it's going to be Versailles. And I would love to see that South Range Barnesville matchup again.
What's interesting, and Anthony brought it up too, is that all the matches take place throughout one day. So with coaching too, you always try to say to your kids that you want to enjoy winning too. But in this sense, you got to kind of have to stay even, as Coach Bailey would say, and remain a focus. So how do you how would you balance that out, you think, between having them enjoy a win if you move on to the next level, but you immediately need to start focusing on the next one too?
Well, for a tournament like this, we will celebrate when we're done, regardless of where we finish. If we lose our first match and we're out, hey, we're top 8 team in the state. If we win a match, that means we're a top 4 team in the state, and we at least get to wrestle for 3rd place. So it's, hey, we'll have the 24-hour rule after we finish. Okay, after we finish, we'll take that NFL rule where, hey, we'll enjoy this for 24 hours, and then we move on. So we'll do that after this is all over. Let's stay focused. We're not done yet. Don't be satisfied with anything but a state championship. Don't be satisfied. I try to preach that to the kids that I coach that get to the district tournament. Don't be satisfied with being a district qualifier. You're not done yet. Don't rest there. Keep your eye on being the top 4 in the district to get to the state tournament. Because sometimes you'll see individuals who'll be in their head, they'll have a certain goal and they'll achieve that goal, and then that's okay. They're just they kind of back off, and they're not taking that momentum with them. That's what I personally would be preaching, that we've got 7 other teams here other than us. We've got to win 3 to be state champs. So we need to win 3 duels, and that's where my focus would be.
And the difference between this and any other sport is this isn't final. If you lose in this bracket, you still have the stuff at the end of the season
Right.
for individual state qualifying. So there's no finality to this bracket. I mean, obviously, it would be a bummer if you don't win the state championship and you get this close, but you still got more to focus on after this bracket is over.
Absolutely. It would be like, so let's say the in basketball, you have the tournament at the end of the season. This is like the basketball postseason, what we're talking about now. And then it would be like, let's say basketball had another tournament where it's 1-on-1 and all 5 starters from every team get seeded one through how many or ever at the sectional. And then you have to play 1-on-1 and the top 4 move to district. And then the top 4 district move to state. So when you think about it like that, this would only be part of the season. So this is something that they try to do towards the end of the season, but they know that teams are focused on the individual tournament. So they don't want to get it too close to that. And they want to have at least a week or two, a couple weeks in between these 2 tournaments for teams to rest up and heal.
This South Range bracket taking place on February 12th at Versailles High School, starting at 9 a.m. and then going on through the day. We'll know a state champion on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, and with having we've got at least 3 YSN teams in here. Let's hope we get at least one to bring home that that trophy. I really think of the 3, probably South Range has the best chance because Louisville and Beaver local have to go through Graham to get there. And like I said, I'm not sure what they're ranked this year, but they are consistently a nationally ranked team. And that's just tough for any public school to get through, regardless of the lineup that they have, because Graham is just such they're such a powerhouse that they just continue to turn out quality, high-level, nationally ranked kids. So I really think that South Range has got the best chance of the 3, but it wouldn't surprise me if any of those 3 do it.
What is the venue for that D2 bracket?
Yeah, it's at Louisville High School, actually.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
there you go. Louisville gets to host it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they chose that. I know in the past when the OHSAA has done it, I believe it was at the St. John's Arena in Columbus. So with the Coaches Association doing that, it's probably outside of their budget. So it's probably where is a somewhat central location to the teams who qualified, or which one is just best for parking, for travel, and for fans. So I've not been to that Louisville gym before, but I'm sure it's pretty nice.
Ty, you've been there.
Yeah, I have. It's a nice gym. It is a nice gym. Talking on South Range though, Gary, I mean, for these Division III teams, you and I have talked, and we've talked with Anthony too, about how hard it is sometimes to get numbers being lower division schools, especially at wrestling. So how impressive is it that South Range has as many weight classes as they do filled with quality talent and depth at those places?
Oh, yeah, they've done an amazing job there. I know that the coach Mark Colin put in a lot of time with the younger kids with his elementary and junior high programs. Coach Hively and his dad, Hugh Hively, those guys have put in years and years and years of work there. It's been really over the last 5 to 7 years where they've really started to take off, and just these last 3 or 4 where they've been this good. And you can tell the health of a wrestling team by their junior high, and their junior high is still turning out really tough kids, really good numbers that are filling right into these weight classes. So for them to do it, and like we've talked before, for them to not be that old of a program in the grand scheme of things, now they've been around for probably 10 years now, but when most wrestling teams have been around like 50 or 60 years, it is a really feat for them to be now known as a wrestling school who not only is good for the last couple of years, but looks to be good for the next foreseeable future, at least the next few years in this foreseeable future.
We are so looking forward to this bracket on Saturday. We hope that on Wednesday we get to talk about more some state champions, maybe 2.
Hey, that would be great. Yeah, I don't know in the Division I. I don't know if Austintown, Fitch, or Boardman qualified. I did not look at those to see, but the Division II and III is well represented. I'll tell you that.
Before we let you go, Gary, I want to talk about the last week of the Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley nominees in wrestling. And we start back in United with Dallas McCracken. We've already had Dakota on. Now Dallas gets a nod as a nominee for the Eagles.
Yeah, he's a great heavyweight. He's a big kid. He's probably 6'5". He's probably 280 pounds. And Kenny Beaumarriage and his staff have done a great job with him to try to kind of get him to work the things that he's good at, use his size, strength, and power to his advantage. And, when you're wrestling a kid that size, you've got to have the stamina to go at it with him, a guy that size and strength. And he's winning a lot of matches. He seems to be getting better every week as weeks go on, and he hasn't wrestled for very long, so they've done a really great job with him.
Liberty gets another nod on the Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley nominees. It is Dominic Leone for the Leopards getting a nomination this week.
I believe that I hope I get this right. I think he made it to the finals of the EOWL tournament. I believe he's their best wrestler. He's a scrappy kid. Coach Haiti and Ryan there, those guys have done a great job with Liberty. Liberty always has a full team or almost a full team. And I know that they're probably, at least from what I remember, more of a basketball and football school. But for Haiti to get the numbers that he gets, he does a great job there. They fill all the weight classes. They always have a couple of standout kids. And I'll tell you what, from one coach to any other coaches that are watching and listening, that Liberty coaches room at the junior high EOWL tournament, which happens this weekend, is the best coaches room in the Valley, in the area. I'll tell you right now, the amount of volunteers that they have at Liberty in that district and on that team, the amount of parents, the amount of supporters there is really great. And that's how you tell you have a healthy program.
We go from Liberty to Crestview. They get their second nominee of the year, and it is Colin Weaver from the Rebels getting the nod this week.
Hey, that's another kid that's kind of come out of I don't know if he's come out of nowhere, but he sure has improved a lot. He seems to be getting better as time goes on, and he's a really scrappy wrestler on the mat. He just keeps working the whole time, looking for opportunities. And if I remember correctly, he's pulled a couple of upsets this year.
From that, we go to Louisville, who will be wrestling this weekend, and it is Pablo Castro for the Leopards getting the nod as a nominee this week.
Yeah, he's a very highly ranked kid. I believe he's in the top 3 in the state. Might even be, heck, I'm curious. I think he might even be first. They have several guys that are in that top 3 there, but I believe he's in the top 3, whatever weight. Actually, he's number 1. Division II, 132. He's predicted state champion. So, yeah, I saw him wrestle at the EOWL. He dominated everybody he wrestled. He beat a very good Ray Samil from South Range in the finals. And he looked to be the real deal walking around and seeing his matches. He's definitely a kid that I could see at the top of the podium.
Canfield gets their second nominee as well. Ian Hall from the Cardinals squad gets a nomination on Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley this week.
Yeah, he's one of those kids that when we had the Canfield coach on and he talked about the staples in that room, the kids that he was proud of and that he's looking forward to their season was him. The whole kid, he's been around the wrestling forever, been around that team forever, been around that program forever. And he's just one of those kids that show time and effort will equal success in this sport.
Last but certainly not least, South Range gets a nominee as Michael Lally comes on as a member of the Baird Brothers Big Dog nominees this week.
Yeah, and I can bet you that came because of his win that put them in the state tournament with that great win over that really good Waynedale program. He's been around for a long time. He's wrestled for a while. We wrestle him every year a couple of times. He's just a kid. He's a heavyweight, and he does what a heavyweight's supposed to. He gets out there, he works hard, he looks for opportunities to win, and he's got a lot of mat time in his life. So it's good to see a kid like that be nominated because he's put his time in.
All right, Gary, one more thing before we let you go. We like to do an advice kind of segment before you go every week. I guess now they're nearing the end of the season. Everyone's kind of bruised and battered. Everyone has their sore spots. It's a long wrestling season, and it's a physically demanding sport. What are some of your strategies to staying healthy and conditioned in the last stretch of the season?
Well, I worry most about practice, really, more than anything, because the matches wind down as the season's going on, so you're not wrestling as many matches. So we're careful in practice with what we do. We don't do a ton of live wrestling here to wind the season down, because that's when you get hurt. We focus more on our conditioning and our drilling, and then working on things that we need to work on. So what I've done, what's worked for us, is to just back off here at the end of the season. Make sure that the kids aren't putting themselves in bad positions during practice, and just trying to let them heal up and rest up. I believe it was Canfield coach that said rest and recovery is just important as being in practice and going hard and drilling your moves. So at this point in time, we put in the work this season to get the kids where we want them to be. Now we want them to stay healthy and to be mentally and physically sharp. And we do that by just backing off in practice. I'm not sure how else to put it, but that's what we do.
Gary, thank you so much for taking the time to join us this week. We love talking to you every week, and hopefully next week we got some big results to talk about in these state tournaments.
Yeah, I'm excited for these results, and we're just a couple weeks away from the sectional tournament. So this season, the most exciting part of the season's coming, and I'm just thankful to be here with you guys every week.
We love having you, Gary, and we're glad to see you next week as well.
See you guys.
Gary Altizer coming in with Wrestling Wednesdays like he does every week. What a great segment. We're proud to have him on, and every time he does, we have some new nuggets of knowledge. I honestly, when I looked at this bracket, I was like, this whole thing's in one day. That's mind-blowing to me. Like,
Yeah.
You got to go, like, for Louisville or Beaver local, they have to beat Aurora, and then they have to beat the next team an hour later, and then it's grueling.
Need to be conditioned. It's an Ironman type sport. I mean, it's supposed to take you to your limits, and then some.
If it was easy, everyone would be there, right, Ty?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's going to be fun to talk about next week. We'll have results from Saturday's state duel tournaments. South Range is dueling at Versailles High School on the 12th. They're the 1 seed. And then, of course, Louisville hosting not just themselves, but also Beaver Local from Ysn will be there as well as the 6 seed, Louisville, the 2 seed in that Division II bracket.
Should be an interesting one.
So we were going to take our first break of the day on Running Point after Wrestling Wednesdays. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about the results from last night. Ty, there were a lot of good ones, and there's a lot of good games to talk about.
Yes, sir, there are. And there's a lot of excitement to talk about as the season winds down and postseason gets ready to start.
Don't miss it. We'll be back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring. And, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Coca's Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need, regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Welcome back to Ysn's Running Point on ysnlive.com. That was silly. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. And we are brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Ty, before we get to our results from last night, I want to give us time for our Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley Price is Right challenge that you have won 9 weeks straight in basketball. And I have won 0. But for some reason, I keep wanting to embarrass myself and lose even more. So let's go over our nominees, and then we'll try to decide where this voting is in a total by the end of the show, like we do every week. And we'll start with the girls pool, and leading it off, it's going to be Katie Grexa from Badger, the first Badger girls basketball player to be nominated on Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley this year.
I haven't personally gotten a chance to see her, but I love the last name of Grexa. That's a great last name, too.
It's got an X, too, so it can be the X factor.
Yeah, she could definitely be the X factor in it, too. And no, I mean, just good to see Badger getting some love as well, too. New to the network for this basketball season and getting someone now on the girls basketball list. As I believe they've won one already. The boys' side, haven't they?
Boy, Lindak won.
So yeah, they've already been represented and they came out once. So Badger, you have another opportunity to show what you got.
Now we'll move on to the next nominee, and you got to see her actually 2 nights ago. Maddie Lesnack from Springfield, this close from tying the game with that last second shot for the Tigers.
She pretty much plays. She is the true point guard for that team. And I mean, she gets a boatload of assists. She leads the team in assist as well. She moves the ball very well. She finds open shooters a lot of the time. And she's really the motor that gets that Springfield offense running. And on top of that, she knows when to take her shot, and her shot's pretty darn good as well. And she knows how to get her own points.
One of the things that I like about Lesnack, and it's a hallmark of a really good point guard. I think she averages about 10 a game, if not a little bit less, barely less than 10 a game. But she sacrifices points to get her players involved. Like she could, and she has the talent to average 15, 16, 17 points a game. But she sacrifices those points to get other people's points. That's why she averages also, I believe, 3 or 4 assists per as well.
Yeah, I could actually, I'll tell you real quick because it's just under 3 at 2.7.
I was so close.
Her stat line, yeah, she's right under 10. She's at 8.9 points per, 4.6 rebounds, 2.7 assists. That's the assist number is the most assists, though, on the team, averaging the most. As Venturella also has over 2. There's a lot of girls with 1. I mean, they move the ball very well in Springfield.
The other thing, I bet, I don't know if your stats have it, but I bet her assist to turnover ratio is really good.
Yeah. I mean, she does a real good job with that one as well.
Doesn't turn the ball over a lot when she has it in her hand. So we'll go from Lesnack to another point guard. This one for the Canfield Cardinals. It is Summer Maroon, who played an integral part in them beating Howland on Saturday in the Tigers' den.
Yeah, she plays a really good game of basketball, does Summer Maroon. I've gotten to see her twice, I think, this season, and both times I've seen her, she looks really good. I mean, she's able to move the ball really well. She's able to play point guard if you need her to. She's able to knock down shots from pretty much anywhere on the court, and she just adds another layer to that Canfield offense.
I think they have people that can beat you in different ways. McElroy's a straight up spot shooter. Dill can shoot mid-range pretty well. She can drive, but she can also shoot the 3. I think Sam Marone is their best straight-up driver. Like her first step driving to the lane beats most people off the dribble.
Yeah, but you got to respect her from the 3-point arc, too.
You do. She can hit 3s. But I think her bread and butter absolutely is just that drive, just straight drive.
That makes her a nightmare to guard because you can't play up on her because she could speed past you, but you can't give her too much space because she can nail them down if you do. So, I mean, having that and the fact that she can move the ball pretty well, too, and get some assist numbers up is impressive. Very good player over there.
Play a zone against the Cardinals if you dare. They will eat you up alive if you try to take away their driving ability with their shooting ability as well. So we go from Sam Marone down to Jenna Smith from Garfield. Second nomination this year for Jenna, and I believe third nomination for Garfield because Sarah Seaman has been on the list as well.
1,500 points in your career. Drop mic. That's all you need to say. I mean, Jenna Smith's done. What else do you need to say? She's done there. She's been there. She's done that. She's been a consistent player for 3 years, I think, as a starter in Garfield now. I mean, she is just the show down there for the Lady G men right now. And I mean, anytime you surpass 1,500 points in a career, I don't care who you are. That's impressive. Not many players do that.
I've only called one of her games this year, but what I noticed, and maybe it was just, maybe they don't consistently do this. Maybe it's just what they matched up with Nordonia and Fort Fry. But what I really loved is using her in the high post because not a lot of players at this level can take the ball at the high post and either shoot it there, get the ball back out to the perimeter, or square you up and drive from there. There aren't a lot of players who can do all 3 at this high school level. And she can absolutely do all 3. She can hit that mid-range jumper right at the high post. She can square you up and drive from there. But she's also a pretty good passer that can get it back out to the perimeter for a wide-open shot if you collapse on the high post. So, once again, great passer. And I think that goes in she averages over 5 assists and over 2 assists, excuse me. But all 5 of their starters average over 2 assists per game.
Yeah, and that's impressive, too. And Jenna Smith, what she does do really well, I mean, she uses her body down in the post. So when you're trying to man up on her, she's able to feel where you're going and able to create some space and always seem to create open looks for herself anywhere in that mid-range or find a driving lane. So it's that ability. Her shot creating ability is really what's impressive about her.
Next up, we have Jordan Palmer from Beaver Local getting on the nomination list. And that's just a red flag to everybody else on this list. You better vote because Beaver Local does not joke around.
Yeah, I mean, I personally haven't seen Beaver Local play in person. I've seen a couple of games on the network. Palmer's always been, I feel like, in the box score when I have seen a couple of games. I've caught a couple of the Lady Beavers games, but no, you're right, Anthony. Anytime we see Beaver Local in these votes, I mean, you better bring your
You better bring it.
Their A game.
It takes a big effort to beat Beaver Local in this voting.
They
And it
swept.
doesn't happen too often. Like
They swept Player of the Year in fall.
Dorian Jackson won the Beaver local wrestling this week. So it doesn't happen often where Beaver local loses. They already have Sky Papas who won for
On
the
they
boys.
win. I think they might be 100% at the start of football season. I think
So
they're
if they win the girls basketball poll, they would have won football, volleyball, girls basketball, boys basketball, and wrestling.
I think there's been one Beaver local volleyball player that lost, and that's because there was another Beaver local.
There's another Beaver local volleyball player that beat her.
That had to win instead.
Brooke Talbot beat Grace Hill, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was like,
but those were the two Beaver local nominations for Player of the Year on volleyball. Crazy. We go from her to Kylie Mclean, who I think is the unsung hero for Howland. I think everyone likes to talk about Masucci and Pompolia, which obviously well deserved. They're great basketball players, but I think Kylie Mclean is like the gear that just runs that team. Against Poland, she never let them get in those trap zones, like the trap spots that Poland loves to push you in and get you into turnover situations. Kylie Mclean never let them kind of get into those spots on the floor. It was like she knew exactly where Poland was trying to get them and then avoided those spots on the floor. And you have to make those decisions super quick. So her basketball IQ off the charts, because you don't see a lot of we've seen Poland play all year. Not a lot of teams are able to diagnose where exactly they want you to go with the ball and then avoid that spot and avoid their traps. And Kylie Mclean did it almost consistently in that win over Poland on Monday.
I unfortunately didn't get a chance to see her in Fitch because she was down with injury. But Coach Pounds, I remember talking with him before the game and after about how much he was just saying that she was missed in that game against Austintown too. And I mean, really does a good job of running the point when she's not there, but when she's running the point, she really adds another layer to that offense.
When you have to have Pompolia run the point, it's harder to get her open off the ball. And defenses are focusing on Pompolia anyway.
And they're going
you have to. It just throws off the
two
ball.
birds, one stone. If you're trapping her, you're trapping the ball then too,
right?
Because she's going to primarily have the ball. So you just run a little bit.
Kylie Mclean, honestly, one of the best point guards I've seen this year live. I've gotten to see her twice in two games. She scored 19, led the team with the loss in Canfield, and then I believe scored 13 to lead the team against Poland. This is a phenomenal basketball player.
Yeah, I can imagine. So I haven't gotten a chance to see her live, but I have seen her on the network, and yeah, she definitely helps add another layer to that Howland offense.
All right, we go from the girls' side to the boys, and it is Will Aljancic from Louisville being the first on the boys' list. That's his second nomination this year. I mean, we've talked him up so much on this show. I don't know what more we could say about him. I mean, he's just a straight up assassin. He's assassin.
He's a Jedi. He's a Deadeye. Deadeye.
I thought you said Jedi. It's like
the Red Dead Redemption. When you add that Deadeye and it adds slow motion, you're able to get like the perfect X on it. That's him with basketball. That's him with a 3-point shot. Feels like he slows the game down and he just bam, bam, bam.
I thought we were gonna have to make a graphic with Will Aljancic in a cloak and go in this are not the leopards you're looking for. Yeah. I thought you said Jedi, man.
You could still give him like one of those frontiersmen's cloaks that are cool.
All right, we go, but no, this is a straight up score. I mean, he can score from anywhere, get any shot he wants at any time.
When he heats up, he heats up too. He starts hitting parking lot shots, and it becomes a show.
A player that you got to see last night, unfortunately for him, it was in a losing effort, but still a phenomenal talent. James Davis from Liberty gets a nod this week.
Yeah, and he's a guy, too, that, like Aljancic, is not afraid to take his shot from anywhere. Unfortunately, I think it was one of those nights where he made a few big ones, too, but his shooting percentage wasn't as high as I know I've seen him in box scores before. So he was just having a little bit off of a shooting night. But, I mean, he's a guy that can score from anywhere, not just shooting-wise. He can drive it as well. He is tremendously athletic, has an incredible vertical, and he has these long arms that he's able to intercept passing lanes and driving lanes really well. Got his hand on the ball a lot for steals, and he's just able to intercept things very well. Has a very good eye. He's like a hawk, honestly. He reads the court too, and he just knows he's a ball hawk. He really
a ball hawk. That's what he is. We'll talk more about that Liberty Camel game in a bit. Next on the list, Ross Dito from Poland gets a nod I believe the second Poland player to be nominated. We've already seen Christian Colosimo as well.
Yeah, and you know what? I want to see if I can get this up. I don't know if I had the stats for them or not, but I'm pretty sure Dito is quietly having a really good season.
He's on this list because he put on an absolute show at South Range last week. That was the game that like caught my attention. He put on a show.
Actually, he is the points leader now. I mean, we talk about Colosimo and Colosimo having a great season, over 14 points. Dito's over
Colosimo does a lot of the dirty work. Like,
yeah,
he doesn't get in the stat sheet.
He does, but Dito's averaging 20 points a game. That's impressive. 20 points a game. Another thing, 6.5 rebounds too. That's impressive.
Look, let's be honest. Coming into this year, no one expected Dito to be like the leading scorer because they had so many players that you expect to go like Jack Fulton and Michael Gordon, but Poland has 5 players that are hurt right now. So it's kind of been like the Ross Dito show all of a sudden. But I don't think that was expected of him coming in. But he stepped up in a big way into the spotlight.
Him and Colosimo do great, averaging over 20 for Dito, 14 for Colosimo, and both over 6.5 rebounds per. I mean, that's 34 points of offense you're getting from 2 players and 12, 13 rebounds from 2. That's pretty good numbers.
I know Poland's not going to win the league, and they don't have a spotless record. They've had some losses that are tough. But I'm telling you, if they make a deep tournament run or win a couple games in the tournament, I would strongly consider Fender as coach of the year, because to take this team and have 5 key injuries on the team and still have the season they're having, it's remarkable. And it has to come down to coaching.
Yeah, I think so as well. Also, a thing impressive about Dito, just under 2 assists per game too. And for a guy that stands about 6'4", I mean, that's impressive to have some passing numbers like that as well. So I think Poland's doing a great job too, but Dito and Colosimo are the show down there.
We have Zach James from Mineral Ridge getting on the list. Mineral Ridge is slowly but surely kind of grinding through a tough season, but improving every day. And Zach James had a big game this weekend for them.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen a whole lot of Mineral Ridge games, but what I've noticed too is that these scores are getting a lot tighter as the season winds down. Mineral Ridge is scoring a lot more points towards the end of the season, and if that shows anything, that's growth.
They've taken their lumps, but they haven't put their head down at all.
And that's impressive, considering the conference that they play in is a pretty tough conference.
I think they got a lot of confidence, Ty, when Zupko hit that buzzer beater to beat McDonald.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think that things like that definitely will energize a team too, to say, hey, we can contend with these guys now. And I mean, just getting that growth throughout the season and seeing these scores a lot more close. I mean, I gotta figure James is a part of it too, as I've seen his number. I did see that game you were talking about. I mean, the box score numbers just don't lie. They don't lie. When you have good games, you need to get appearances on the votes.
Sometimes timing is right, Ty, and these came out last night before the games went final. But Mick Hergenrother showed up big time in Cardinal Mooney's win over Boardman last night, scoring 23 points against the Spartans. So it's kind of one of those things where it makes us look really smart for putting him on the list.
Yeah, and I don't believe I've seen him this year. I saw him last year, and what he really does, I mean, runs a point guard, but I mean, he is scrappy. He can drive it, score it really well, but he could also knock down some threes. But his driving ability is second to none in what he's able to do. He takes contact really well, feeds off of it, and finishes shots through it. Creates a lot of and one opportunities for him, but what he's really good at is driving and dishing out to the corners or to the wings. And if he was always watching too to see if anyone's popping off there, so he really becomes a nightmare to plan for on defense, because you don't know when he takes that drive if he's going up with a shot or if he's kicking it out somewhere.
And now we go to East Liverpool, and they get their second player nominee on the list, but their third nominee overall, as they have Trey Armstrong getting on the nominations this week from the Potters.
You could put so many people from the Potters on this list. I mean, they are just a superstar team. The Armstrong's no different in this. And I mean, just reasons why East Liverpool is just phenomenal this year. And they've beaten some of the best, and they are consistently either 1 or 2 on our power rankings for the last 8 weeks. I mean, and Armstrong is a huge factor in that, as part of 9 seniors on that team. It's a ridiculous group, and it's a very experienced group, and it's one that has big plans, I think, for the postseason.
They beat up Beaver Local last night, and they'll play Lindsley tonight for their second game in 2 days. We'll see how the Potters do against Lindsley.
Yeah, should be interesting to see how East Liverpool does to wind out the season.
We talked in depth with these nominees with Gary Altizer for Wrestling Wednesdays, so we'll just go over the names once again in case you missed that. Dallas McCracken from United these are wrestling lists, by the way. Dominic Leone from Liberty. You have Colin Weaver from Crestview. Then you have Pedro Catro from Louisville. You have Ian Hull from Canfield and Michael Lally from South Range, all getting nominations for the wrestling list. So without further ado, Ty, it's time to see where these votes are totaled as we speak. And as always, we'll play the Price is Right challenge. We'll have about an hour to mull over. That's how long we'll have for the voting, is about an hour, and we'll see where they are at the end of the show. So the girls right now, their total is 8,116. It's a big total for less than 24 hours, less than 12 hours to be, well, a little bit more than 12 hours.
Beaver was on it though too. That helps.
We have the boys at 315. It's kind of a letdown.
Little bit of a letdown. Boys, you've been competing. What's going on?
Come on, guys. Get back in it. Then we have wrestling at 1,486. So the girls are just taking off.
The girls are like, all right, wrestling, we'll let you win one or two. Since
they've won all but one this week, and the girls are just 8,116 already.
So we're at, what is that? What is that total? It's
8,116 plus 315 plus 1,486. 9,917. So just under 10,000 votes right now. This is hard because the girls are taking off, but the other votes haven't yet. So you'll wonder if the wrestling will take off in the next hour, if the girls are going to take off, or if it's just going to be the girls, or if the boys are going to take off now. Oh, I hate this so much. It's an hour, so our window has to be even smaller than normal. So you don't have to give me a 200 gap, unfortunately. That's even worse for me.
Yeah. We'll cut it in half for
do 100 gap. Let's see. It's at 9,900, almost 10,000 right now. The girls have 8,000, so I imagine they'll at least get another 1,000 in an hour. Ty, I'll go with 13,200. 13,200.
You're just so you're throwing a little bit of extra change on top of it.
13,200. My strategy now is either I go over or we both go over, and we'll try again tomorrow.
I'm 9-0 in this one. I could suffer a loss. I don't know. Do I take the confidence and just go 13-3? And
I hate you so much if you did that.
Or do I go under? And
if I lose by like less than 50 votes, I'm gonna be so upset.
I might do 13-3. Let me do 13-3. Beaver Local might be in a lunch hour and they might be using those.
13-3. So that means for me to win, it has to be between 13-2 and 13-3.
I just had to give you a short window to get there.
Hopefully the timing is just perfect. And for me,
I could have technically said 10,000 and just been in the win.
Right. 10,000 would have just been like, hey, as long as it doesn't go over 13, you're good.
As long as it doesn't go over, 13-2, I would have been all right.
You could have said 9,918. Just added one vote to that and been like, hey, that's no fun. We're not having fun.
I'm not trying to get easy wins here. I'm
you always believe in these voters, and they always back you
up. I
up.
always challenge them, too. I give you short windows instead of me getting big ones to win.
I just want to okay, so the girls has already gone up about 200. I'm so screwed.
Well, there it is, Anthony. It's lunchtime in Beaver Local. That's what I'm banking on. It. Lunch hour in Beaver Local going to be a spike.
We'll check in on that at the end of the show. We got to go into recaps now, Ty, though. It's an hour in. We're getting our recaps now. That's what Wednesdays are all about. So we'll start with the games that we were both at. And I was in a wild one in Western Reserve. It's a trophy game because trophy goes to the second matchup of these two schools every year. It was Jackson Milton earning the trophy with the 44-43 win over Western Reserve. Ryan Romai with the game-winning layup. And then with 10 seconds left, Jackson Milton defense with only a 1-point lead. Any bucket beats you. Their defense locked down. Hayden Fellows took the last shot. He couldn't make it. And Jackson Milton went nuts. And they have the trophy for the third straight year. It is the Bud Jones President's Memorial Trophy that stays in Jackson Milton for the third straight season. And it's kind of Coach Procopio is 3-3. He's been there for 6 years. Western Reserve won the first three in his tenure, and now Procopio has won 3 in a row for Jackson Milton. So I guess next year breaks the tie.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, good game you were at there as Jackson Milton able to get the win in. Another Romai making a big shot, huh? This time it's the other Romai that comes through with the big shot and helps. So by leading the way, the Romais have come away with some big victories over some significant teams.
You'll hear his post game, and I'll let him say it. But he had one of the coolest. Actually, now I can't remember if he said it after I hit record or if he said it while he was talking to me before I hit record. So I'll just say it. Procopio, Ryan Romai only scored 5 points. He didn't really have a great night on offense. And he goes, hey, if you have a bad 31 minutes and have good 30 seconds, you can win a game. So Ryan Romai had a really good shot at the end of the game to really win it. So Beautiful. He got player of the game because when you hit game-winning shots, you get player of the game. So He got player of the game. They were led by Caden Mitchell, actually, with 20 points. No, not 20 points. 15 points, excuse me. So But Ryan Romai had 5. They kept the Romais actually in check. Western Reserve defense did a pretty good job keeping them off the scoring. But Aiden Stank and Mitchell both had big days for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at
the Blue, I want to caveat the Blue Devils. They're hurting right now. I mean, David Altier did not play. Gabe Platt got hurt in about the first quarter, so he didn't play for most of the game. But they still had guys to scrap and step up. So props to the Blue Devils for going through some adversity.
Yeah, and Platt's one of their big scorers. Altier's a huge defensive guy too. He's a shot blocker. But no, credit to the Blue Jays, credit to Coach Procopio now. 3 straight against Western Reserve. And I mean, that's a great win to have under the belt again to end the season. A little bit of momentum to garner before the start of the postseason.
Let's hear what Coach Procopio and Ryan Romai had to say in their post-game interviews last night after their win over Western Reserve.
Anthony Early with Coach Procopio after Jackson Milton's big win over Western Reserve. What an atmosphere here tonight, Coach. What did it mean to you guys to play in front of a crowd like this and to get the win like you did?
Man, it was huge. I mean, like we just told the kids in the locker room, now it's an ugly 4 quarters of basketball, but it was gritty. It was gritty, and that's what this group has been built on all year. We've grinded out some tough wins all year. We knew coming in here, no matter how good each team is, it's going to be a battle. And you know what? I'm just proud of our guys. They fought through it. They stuck through it. And, hey, at the end, like I told this guy sitting to my left, I said, you can play 31 and a half bad minutes of basketball, but guess what? 30 seconds is all you need for that fame. So, I mean, I'm just proud of our guys. They played hard, and it was a huge win for Jackson Milton as a community.
Talk about that third quarter. They came out on a 7-0 run. You answered with a run on your own. What did it take to kind of calm down and get back to business after that run by them?
Yeah, I mean, just trying to keep our guys composed. I mean, we've been in games like this before. Like we tell our younger guys, hey, you're not a freshman anymore. You're a sophomore. You're not a sophomore anymore. You're a junior. So, our guys are all a year older. Even though they're still in that grade, we believe they're a year older. And I'll tell you, I mean, just getting them composed on the bench, making sure they're focused, making sure they're sticking to the game plan. That was what it was all about.
3 wins in a row for this trophy game. What's it mean to you to start building this tradition here at Jackson Milton?
Yeah, I mean, I've been here 6 years, and the first 3 years, Western Reserve kicked our butts every year. They had it in these last 3 years. We had a really good team the last couple of years, and I think we got just of a good team this year. We had these last couple of years, and I mean, our goal is to always keep the trophy where it belongs to Jackson Milton.
It's definitely a big win, but how do you guys stay even and continue through the rest of your schedule?
Oh man, we got what, 5 games left? I mean, we got our 4 games left. Got to grind it out. We got a big week. We got 2 more games this week. We play Friday, Saturday, and our goal is not regular season wins. It's great to keep the trophy, but our goal is to compete in that district tournament this year.
Coach, thanks so much for the time and congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much, Anthony. Always good to see you.
Anthony Hartwig here with Ryan Romai, who put the cape on his back, got the game-winning shot tonight. Ryan, just take us through that moment, that last possession, and what it felt like when that shot went in.
Yeah, it was pretty nerve-wracking. I mean, Caden gave me a good pass. Got to do what I got to do. And missed the free throws, but doesn't matter. We came out with the win.
You hit the shot, and then your coach took a timeout to ice you on the free throw line. You give him some crap about that?
No, it didn't bother me at all. I mean, I've been doing pretty crappy at the free throw line, but just another shot.
You know, after that, you still had a 10-second defensive stand that you guys had to make. Talk about that big defense and stepping up like that in that last seconds.
Yeah, it means a lot to play defense late in the game, and we gave it our all, the whole game, defense, everything. Tried our best.
You guys got contributions from everybody tonight. What's it mean to you that you can always count on your teammates to go out there and do their jobs?
It means a lot because, I mean, I love them. They're my family. I can't imagine playing without them.
When you look at this, 3 wins in a row in this trophy game, how's that feel? What's it mean to you?
I mean, this is my first year. It means a lot. I've been watching for many years, and it's going to stay here.
And then talk about your student section tonight. What an atmosphere. How much energy did they give you guys on the road?
Fired us all up. I mean, I can't appreciate them enough.
All right. Thank you so much for the time. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
That was Ryan Romai and Coach Procopio after the Jackson Milton win over Western Reserve, 44-43 tie. I'm sure you noticed I tried to give him a chance to poke some fun at his coach. He wouldn't take it.
No, you got to probably wait. He's too young yet. He
hasn't built his chops. But I was kind of like, whoa, that's a bold move because Procopio took a timeout before his free throw, and I was like, that's icing your own player a little bit.
Might have been more of just talking defense.
I think he wanted to talk about the defensive, what they're going to do on defense if Ryan Romai misses that free throw, which he ended up missing. So it was a good timeout because their defense came out and made a really good stop on a possession. So, but
it's also, I mean, it's beneficial because if you're Ryan Romai, you're a freshman. If you're going to be a starter, you're going to be a varsity player. I mean, you're also going to see opposing coaches do that to you. So you got to get used to trying to be iced and still going out and nailing your free throws too. But I mean, that was also a good timeout to talk about defensively and, hey, we need to get back. Here's where we need to be. Here's where we need to watch out for and try to cut this off. So, I mean,
I'm going to ask this to you and you're a big basketball guy. You know the rules and this kind of got brought up in the game last night. Do you think that if a team calls a timeout, should they be able to advance the ball? If they because Western Reserve called the timeout, they had already advanced it to almost half court. I don't think the kid crossed half court before he called it. But then, obviously, with 10 seconds left, Sarinsky calls the timeout after they get the rebound, and they had to go all the way back down to the baseline to inbound it on the far side of the court. Now, obviously, if he would have crossed half court, I believe he would have gotten it in front of their own bench. But do you think, like in the college game, especially the women's college game, I don't know if it's the same in the men's, call a timeout and you get to advance the ball?
I think it would add a lot of interest to the end of games then because, I mean, I think a lot of games are just you'll see a lot of close games end and that are lost because they have to take them from the baseline and it's hard to deal with full court press to get it across half court and then have hopefully another timeout to be able to get it in front of the bench. So, I mean, I could see the pros and cons for both of it, though, certainly, because I can see where people are going to say, well, just play through press defense.
I know.
Cross half court.
We got a lot of viewers. I want to hear what people think. Like, should that be, because it's in college, so should that be a rule change where in high school you call a timeout, you get to advance the ball? Or do you think you like it the way it is? And the other thing, I've always been the live ball timeouts can only be called by a player. I've kind of like that. Coaches, I don't like coaches being able to bail out their player, but I know it's high school, so
it would basically be 5 times for each team that if they want to. Well, that would be if, of course, a team is implementing a full court press that you can basically break it with a timeout and take it to the other side of the court and do a half court set then.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it would be interesting, too, because it would add another layer, I think, of strategy as well. I mean, I think it'd be cool just for the end of the games, too, because for those close games, it adds.
I love 2 minutes. You can advance the ball. You can't do it anywhere else.
That would be cool, though. I mean, because, the timeouts would be saved then a lot more. You would see teams hold, I would think, a lot more timeouts towards end of games then, because if you're advancing the ball, it would add a lot of drama to those last 2 minutes, because it'd be pretty much running 20-second possessions. If it's a miss, timeout, or if it's a make, timeout. Like, I mean, the last 2 minutes would probably take about 10 to 15 to get through.
It was obvious. It was a close call. I didn't. He was close to getting across half court, and if he would have, before Sorensky was granted the timeout, I believe that just advances the ball anyway.
Yeah.
But they made him go in and take it in the baseline. So I was like, oh man, they just wasted 3 seconds or whatever trying to get it through half court. They called the timeout. They had to go all the way back and do it again. I was like, well, that kind of sucks for Western Reserve.
Yeah, I mean, those are
got to make sure he crosses half court. Got to time that right.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to time it right, because you never know what a team's going to bring pressure wise defensively, where they're going to come from, which side. And I mean, it was a good game. And towards the end of the game, Blue Jays were just able to get the score in their favor. Towards the winding seconds, played good defense, finished it out.
All right, Ty, now it's time to talk about your game, and this is a wild one. Campbell had pretty good control in the first half. I believe their halftime lead was, in a not a super comfortable range, but they had a decent halftime lead, if I'm not mistaken.
It was about, I think it was 8, if I'm not mistaken.
And Liberty had a heck of a third quarter. They were up 47-44 after 3. And then they only scored 10 points in the fourth. Campbell's defense locked down. Talk about what you saw last night from these two teams.
I mean, it was stars that came out to play. James Davis had a decent game, but actually it was DeAndre Ventures that I think that dropped 23, I think, in the game, and he was just balling out for Liberty, taking shots all the way to the hole, fighting through pressure. I mean, getting up through contact, going to the line, and knocking down shots. He was a really big X factor for Liberty last night. And then, of course, for Camel, I mean, the big players came out to play, and they really did it with balance. Deshaun Will had 9. I think Scavos Koros had 9. Jameer Weaver had 8. And then, of course, Kevin Moore, again, with a 20-point game. And then the player of the game was Avion Leonard, who scored 16 and had 7 boards as well. It was a really balanced, almost 5 players in double digits. But Xavier Leonard, 16 points, so 7 rebounds came at big points, too, because he was battling through a lot of pressure, because Liberty has some good rebounders in their own. So in the fact that Xavier was able to get those boards, and a lot of his shots came on one-on-one matchups where it was turnaround jumpers, and he was getting loose on one-on-one matchups, and they were really big buckets to set the tempo for Camel throughout.
And to your point, the kids go under the radar, but man, if those secondary scorers don't score for Camel, it's a 10-point game. You take away one of those 8-point performances, it gets real sweaty real quick.
Absolutely. And I mean, you look at the guys, Deshaun Will has big shot down the stretch where it's an and one opportunity, and he helps lead them to victory. Jameer Weaver comes up with big points. And that's the thing, when Camel's clicking like this and it's a balanced offense, that's why they score over 70 plus a game. And they're incredibly impressive when they're all clicking like that.
They have stars for sure, but don't get it twisted. Camel is a very balanced offense. They get scoring from everybody. Liberty side, tough loss. I mean,
they got
this was the league on the line. They lost by 3 the first time. Obviously, they had the lead after 3 quarters of play. I was kind of because I picked Liberty. Yeah. I texted you last night. I was getting excited because Camel's Twitter usually tweets like regularly, but they tweeted that Liberty was up in the third, and then I didn't hear from them, and I was like, "Oh man, something good must be happening for Liberty." And they rage quit on the Twitter. But no, they came out, they won. So I was kind of. Not like we're not rooting, but I kind of bummed that I didn't get this win. But I did win the night. I did win the night.
You did. You got it 3-2. But honestly, this one was impressive by Liberty. I mean, both teams came out with great game plans. Camel just had the fishing touches in that game-winning run that helped seal it. But make no mistake about it, this is a very good Liberty team. But the win now puts Camel in firm control as they have a 2-game lead on everyone else. They have 3 conference games left, so 1 win away.
Yeah, now it'll be Friday for at least the share, and then the next game will be outright, right?
Yeah, 1 win, and then if they win and then Liberty and LeBray happen to lose, it would be outright. But if they win, if Camel wins 2 out of the next 3, it's an outright championship. 1 out of the 3, it's a share. So,
and you had the chance to talk to Xavier Leonard after the game. We're gonna get Coach Canarino to do a detailed interview on Thursday.
We have confirmation he'll be on tomorrow at 12:15 for us. So, We'll have Coach Canarino on tomorrow to talk about these upcoming games.
We have a packed show tomorrow. We're going to be leading off with Sehan Dede from Girard, senior that hit the game-winning free throws against Lakeview
1 o'clock
Saturday. Then we'll have Canarino at 12:15, and then we have some other special interviews that we'll promote at the end of the show that we want to get across tomorrow as well. You had a chance to talk with Avion Leonard. Let's hear what he had to say in his post-game press conference after their win over Liberty.
Welcome back, everyone, as I am here now with tonight's player of the game for YSN, Xavier Leonard, 16 points and boatload of rebounds tonight to help his team to a 10-point victory over the Liberty Leopards. I mean, this was a matchup everyone was excited for. You knew conference, I mean, you didn't get the championship today, but this one had huge implications on conference title hopes. Going into this one, what was the game plan, and what did you guys think you executed it so well?
Well, the game plan was just to fight hard, rebound, just to play hard, just not let anything phase us. And what helped us get ready was tonight was just the last game. Last game was kind of close, and we wanted to like make a statement with this win. So yeah.
Big win down the stretch too. You found yourself getting some big buckets inside, and they brought some presence down low in the post. Talk to me about the success you were able to find inside the post and where you were able to get your buckets and your shots off tonight.
Well, I guess I was just able to move quick enough to get my spots. The ball was able to fall for me tonight.
As far as the rebounding is concerned, that's where I think you made up a lot of your mark here tonight in this game. Boxing out and just grabbing boards. And talking about the rebounding battle you had tonight, I mean, they brought some great competition and great guys that could grab boards as well. Talk to me about how you dealt with their pressure and where you were able to find success there.
Well, I just had to fight hard. I did get tired down at the end of the game where I just had to just dig, box out, get the rebounds. It's really the little stuff that matters to get the big wins.
Going into halftime, you guys were leading, but going into that third quarter, started trailing a bit too. What was that third to fourth quarter adjustment that Coach Canarino talked with you about, and what did you guys execute to come away with that 10-point victory?
Well, he said just to play our game, don't let their defense speed us up, just to keep our composure and, just keep doing what we were doing this whole season. So just keep to get the win.
You guys are now 11-0 in conference play. You're going to be 18-1 on the season, and just talking about this team and this season, I mean, you guys have been on the winning end of so many close ones and so many close battles. What does it mean being one of the senior leaders with this team and just having this kind of season? I mean, these kind of stretches and runs don't happen all the time.
Well, it feels good. It feels good, especially coming from last year. Campbell didn't have a good season, not really at all. So it just feels good to get some wins and show the underclassmen like it's possible.
And you guys are just one win away inside the conference from at least holding a share of the MVAC title. Next game, of course, is going to be at Newton Falls before you host a couple more teams inside the conference. Looking at this, what would it mean for your senior year to have a conference championship and have your number and your year solidified on that wall for forever?
It will mean a lot. It will mean a real lot for this class. We fought hard. We've been playing basketball since forever together, so it will really mean a lot to get a championship together this year. Just finish as a good team.
Real quickly, before I let you go, I want to give you the opportunity to shout out this Rockin' Red Devil crowd that came out tonight. They were so loud, and talk about that support and how that fuels you guys.
Well, the crowd really helps. Like just the momentum, the cheering, it brings like a lot of adrenaline, and it's just a lot. It's a good help.
As the crowd was rocking tonight as they helped Xavier Leonard and the Rockin' Red Devils to a 67-57 win over Liberty as they go 11-0 in the conference now. Player of the game, Xavier Leonard, 16 points tonight. Xavier, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was Xavier Leonard, one of the many talented superstars there that Camel has this year. Is they're not just trying to win a league championship, but you got to imagine district regional hopes on the shoulders of Camel as they have brought this special group together for kind of one run at it. I mean, a lot of them are seniors. It's kind of like this is our one go.
Yeah, and I believe that's now 14 straight for the Red Devils since that loss at Rocket Morgan.
Right?
And I mean, they haven't lost at home this season at all. That especially that's one thing is that sectional semifinal is going to be. It's going to be at the Camel crowd, and that's going to be a loud place, and it's going to be a loud environment to have to play in.
I love it because it's one of the only gyms where the student section is completely separated from the rest of the crowd. and they're right on you, like they're on the floor with you, and the rest of the crowd's kind of up in that I don't want to call it a second deck, but they're up in the top of that gym, and the student section gets to go right down on the floor. It's really cool to separate those
your
two.
ear, and then you have this overarching noise of everything else, and because it's cinder block, the noise bounces a lot more.
I'm sure Liberty brought the
That
atmosphere too, and
was rocking too.
I'm sure they were going at it when they went up in the third quarter. I mean, they had to be just exploding.
Yeah, I mean, it was getting loud, deafening in that gym last night.
You've been in Western Reserve. I'm on the floor in Western Reserve, and like there's only one place to put me really, because the pep band's on the one side, they have the guitars and the drum sets that are blocking the corner, and then the reserves bleachers go from wall to wall on the other side of the gym. So there's no like corner on the other side of that gym. So they got me sandwiched between the student section of Jackson Milton and the cheerleaders of Jackson Milton. So when that last shot didn't go, it was like pandemonium right in front of my camera. It was like everyone just storming the gates.
That's just, and you just got to see it all happen. You're like
just like sitting here like holding the camera for dear life, because I'm like, don't you dare knock this camera over. And then I'm just like, okay, hold steady. And then I got out of there as quick as I could to try to get the trophy presentation as well.
Yeah, and I mean, good job on you. Great camera work as well. Anthony Hartwig again coming through.
Brian texted me after the game, and he goes, really glad Western Reserve didn't hit that shot because no one saw it, because the students came out to watch it, and apparently the camera was blocked by a kid's back. So Brian's like, I'm really glad he didn't hit that shot because no one would have saw it.
Just a kid's back.
Right, just a kid's back. In my wonderful call. We'll go from that to more recaps as we go through more boys basketball finals from last night. And it was Struthers not sweating at all against South Range this time around. 72-54, the Wildcats get the win in the Fieldhouse, much better than the 4-point win that they had in South Range.
Yeah, Struthers trying to make sure they keep pace with the conference. I believe they're tied now with Jefferson, I think, with 2 losses.
Because Jefferson split.
Yep. So, I mean, they're trying to make sure they hold on to get at least a share of the NE8 this year.
Howland got the win over Fitch, 71-60, in a pretty good offensive matchup between these two.
Yeah, this is one you got on me, as this one in Howland too. It was a road game.
That's your emotions against you, Ty.
Yeah, you did. And old Fat Paw got me this time.
Big old Fat Paw, he's coming for you.
The Tigers got the Falcons this time.
I love that running joke. This one was close, and I said it would be. I said this is going to be a sneaky competitive game, a lot of under the radar, but Newton Falls got the win 52-49 over Brookfield.
Yeah, and we knew we both called the Falls to win this one too, and it was a very close game as well. And good win for Newton Falls, trying to garner some momentum before the tournament, and going to have a tough matchup too. This is actually the first time they're going to be facing Camel this Friday. Very late matchup for conference games. They played Camel this Friday and the next Friday, so I mean it's odd.
Coach Simbach still has a lot of respect, and don't forget this Newton Falls team is still the reigning MVAC champion. So you guys still got to show up to play them. They still know how to win.
Simbach knows how to win, absolutely.
Cardinal Mooney gets revenge on Boardman in round 2 as they go to the Spartans gym and win 53-43. Already stated, Mick Hergenrother dropped 23 points in this win to help the Cardinals propel over Boardman.
I mean, Mooney's just that. They're a dark horse assassin, man. I mean, they've beaten some of the best teams that have appeared on this power rankings list too, and they've just kind of stayed in the shadows the entire season. I think that's exactly where Coach Palermo and the Cardinals want to be going into the play.
It's like Boardman's splitting with everybody. They split with Cheney, they're splitting with Mooney. They're splitting with a lot of teams instead of beating them both. And they're probably asking us to not put them with their power rankings again, because every time they get back in, they lose. And it's like they're playing peekaboo with the power rankings a little bit.
They really do. They come in.
It's like, just like this.
Forget about us.
Just keep us out. We win when we're off the power rankings. Just keep us out. Garfield went to Crestview, dominated the Rebels on the road, 75-46 the final there.
Yeah, Garfield using athleticism and just got some great scoring, over 70 points on the night.
Another close game win for West Branch as they beat Kenmore Garfield, not Garrettsville Garfield, 51-50 last night to get the win for the Warriors.
We both picked West Branch in this one, and boy, oh boy, by the skin of their teeth did they come out on top.
Poland, they get a battle from Lakeview, but they end up winning 63-56. Bulldogs, those particular Bulldogs on top.
Makes it interesting now when the tournament does start, because Lakeview, you don't know if that's their best shot at Poland or what that was, but that certainly makes things a lot more interesting when you have to
Now,
play
here comes round 3, and they have momentum. That's a momentum game. Like, we can compete with these guys. And now they're thinking we're a couple plays away from winning this game.
Literally.
We saw this a little bit with I think Jefferson boys last year. It was the same thing where Jefferson matched up with them in the tournament, and like a week before the tournament started, Jefferson played Poland really close in a boys basketball game. And then in the tournament, it was kind of like Poland put their foot down. So we'll see what happens this year. But one of those things where sometimes it can be a real good momentum thing. Sometimes we can wake a sleeping giant and be like, we're not letting that happen again.
Yeah, it'll be interesting too, and it adds a lot of intrigue because Poland and Lakeview might start a rivalry after both basketball teams set to meet in this tournament.
Wild game in Hanoverton as United gets to win over Lisbon 69-63. Back and forth affair, and the Eagles come out on top.
We were wrong about this one. Lisbon,
they're just
they're
riding that roller coaster.
I think right now in the conference, and they beat the really good teams in the conference, and they lose to the mid-tier teams in the conference. It's I don't know what Lisbon matches up so well with. I got to dive deeper, I guess, into the tape of it, but they matched up with Wellsville really well twice this season, and nobody else really has.
Yeah. It reminds me like what the Indians fans always say about now the Guardians, but they're always like, well, we play really good against the good teams, but then when we go and play the Royals, it's like we can't win against the Royals. Like what they
when the Royals
or the old White Sox
season, and we lose 2 out of 3,
or the old Twins, and it's like we can't beat these teams that are cellar dwellers, but we can beat the Yankees and the Red Sox.
Yeah, or then there's the opposite seasons too when we're
Right.
beating the bad teams, but then we can't beat the good teams.
Right.
So-
Which is more understandable because it's like, hey, the good teams are supposed to beat you, but you're beating the teams you should win. It's like that makes sense. But the other end of the spectrum never makes sense when you're beating the teams that like you shouldn't beat on paper, and then you're losing to the teams that maybe you shouldn't win on paper.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. It's odd though too.
Either way, Lisbon's going to be very dangerous in the tournament.
And that's the thing is
'Cause
just
you don't know which one's going to show up.
that's what Aaron Gilbert said.
Right, you don't know.
Teams that are 500, which one's going to show up?
And if the wrong one shows up for you, then you're going to be in some trouble because Lisbon can play.
Yeah, and I mean they've proven it. They've battled through a ton of adversity too. So then the amount of chips on their shoulders right now, they're stacking them like Pringles right now because it's ridiculous how many chips Lisbon's going into this tournament on their shoulder with, and they're gonna come out to play. And I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a long run, but they're going to be competitive, and you better watch out if you draw them.
In one of the best performances we've seen all season, Brady Bonovsky scores 34 to propel the Rockets to a 71-59 win over Mineral Ridge.
A lot of offensive outbursts on the night last night, but how about Mineral Ridge putting up 59 still against a very good Rockets team? And they're only losing by 12. That ain't too far off. So continued growth for Mineral Ridge, but Brady Bonovsky's he's a stud, man. He's able to
take those points away though. Mineral Ridge did their job.
Yeah, he has the capability of exploding.
You expect Lucente to go off like that, but like the season high for Bonovsky now 34. He goes off and he wins. Girard got a heck of a fight from 3-win Niles, but they were able to pull out the victory 42-38. Not an easy one for Girard.
It's just a reminder that anybody can beat anybody, and adds that intrigue going into tournament and adds that intrigue going into some of these conferences that are still up in the air that, hey, man, any given night for any team.
Springfield took care of business. They're not buying into that any given night thing. They're like, nah, no one can beat us. They're still undefeated, and it is 72-44. They get the win over Waterloo. Anthony Romo had the chance to talk to Coach Brink, Bo Brungard, and Jake Joyce after the win for the Tigers.
Romo.
He's doing the work. 3 post-game interviews, and let's hear from them in their post-game press conferences with Anthony Romo after the Tigers win over Waterloo.
Anthony Romo and Jake Joyce after Springfield's 72-44 victory over Waterloo tonight. Jake, 9 points on the night. You've been one of those unsung heroes all year for Springfield. You never really score the most points. You do all the dirty work on the boards. Just how have you embraced your role this season?
I just come in and day out, just work as hard as I can, and just do what I need to do to get this team a victory.
You guys went undefeated this year at home in the regular season. Just how important is it for you guys to protect your home court?
It's really special, especially with like all the fans and everyone out here coming to support. It's just a really great atmosphere, and it's awesome to go undefeated at home.
Winning the first conference title for Springfield in 6 years on your home court, just what does that mean to you as a senior?
It really means everything. I mean, we came up short last 3 years, but we really been putting in that work this year just to come away with this win and get back into the championships.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you.
Anthony Romo with Bo Brungard after Springfield's 72-44 victory over Waterloo tonight. Bo, 19 points on the night. You guys are really clicking in the first half, put up 52 points. Just what's the feeling like when everyone's clicking?
It's just a really good feeling when we're all out here, just having fun, just playing the game we all love to play. And it's even better when you're making shots. And it was just a really good feeling, really good crowd tonight. We always have a good crowd, and just a good feeling.
Being a starter all 4 years here at Springfield, just how important was it for you your senior year to win the first conference championship in 6 years?
Yeah, past 3 years we've always had good teams, but we always just fell short of that league championship. But this year just felt good that we were able to finish out the year with the league and secure the league championship. And proud of the guys for how they've played the whole year and not taking a game off and just finishing out strong.
You guys this year winning this game tonight. You guys went undefeated at home in the regular season. Just how important is that to protect your home court?
Yeah, it's just really important. We've had good teams come in here this year, and we've just played really hard here. And I think we play a little better when we come here and play. But it's just a good feeling, just to play in the home gym. There's nothing like playing in the home gym, and seeing all the people just come to watch, and it's a good feeling to play here.
Thanks, Mo.
Thank you.
Anthony Romo, Springfield head coach Jeff Brink after the Tigers' 72-44 victory over Waterloo tonight. Coach, tonight's victory clinched the outright conference title for your boys. Just what do you think about that?
Well, when you come in, we set goals. We have small goals, you have long-term goals, you got short-term goals. One of the things we want to do is we want to be the best grinding team around. You want to be able to grind out wins, do the little things, be scrapping and fighting, and that's something we've been preaching to our guys all year. And I thought the first half was a great example of just a grinding, tough, gritty effort defensively. And the guys were fighting and scrapping, and that's kind of what we need. No nights off, be prepared every night. And when you look at this in terms of the season, it's been just a phenomenal year with some tremendous young men. But we haven't won a league title in 6 years. So one goal we set is first thing, take care of the league, win the league. We got other goals, other aspirations, but those are one day at a time. It sounds like, a cliche, but you still have to play each and every game and take every game that it's the biggest game of the year. So it's something we sold on our guys. And I think when you look at our seniors, and I said this, about Bo, everybody knows the talent's there in the athleticism, but he's a grinder. He's a fighter and a scrapper. And you look at our guys and our seniors, Alex playing hurt in the Lowville game, coming back, getting stitched up, coming back into the game. Jake Joyce has had a tremendous year. Wary's been phenomenal all year, explosive, saving us games. Our guys, Sean Del Gardner and Sean Guerrero and Brandon Price and our bench guys. It's a great group of guys. I'm so proud of them and what they were able to accomplish, but we've got other aspirations, other goals. You just got to kind of go day to day and keep working to get better. So when we go into the lab tomorrow, we got to get better and some of the little things that we still had some mistakes that we got to clean up. But it's something that when you look at Springfield, 6 years is too long to go without a league title, and I'm glad we were able to at least achieve that goal and take a step to hopefully in the right direction.
That was Jeff Brink and Bo Brungard and Jake Joyce all talking to Anthony Romo after the Tigers win over Waterloo, which got them, like he said, the first league championship for Springfield in 6 years. And that dates back to the ITCL that they were a part of, I believe, before the breakup of that and the formation of the MVAC.
And Bo Brungard and that in particular group now adds, after many football titles and football accolades that they have to their belt, they added one more basketball one. And
these were basketball teams that weren't winning their league, but were going off and having great success in the actual tournament.
But they
ran into McDonald in the league, and McDonald wasn't even in their divisions. So it's just one of those funny things where there were two really good teams in those conferences, and McDonald had the edge a little bit in the MVAC, but then Springfield would make deeper tournament runs in the districts.
Well, last year too, they had it by the skin of their teeth. They beat McDonald, and then Sebring came along and broke their hearts too. And it
came along, and yep, you're right. Matt Bird, right? Matt Bird hit that shot.
Yep. I mean, it reminded us about any given night. But the great thing about Springfield is they didn't falter. They wanted that conference title. Everyone in Springfield did, and they achieved that goal this year.
All right, let's wrap up the recaps as East Liverpool got the win over Beaver Local 75-45 in the OVAC semifinal. They'll advance to the final. LeBray, what an offensive output. The Vikings 97-61 win over Champion, just 3 points away from the Hundo.
97. I think that's the highest we've seen under coverage this year. I think so as well. That's incredible.
Jefferson didn't disappoint either. 81-47. They get the win over Hubbard to keep their hopes alive as the NE8 champion.
Yeah, NE8's getting interesting too. There's so many conferences that are still up in the air with a few days left.
It is interesting because unlike the rest of the, we've seen Liberty and Campbell come down to basically that matchup. South Range Poland on the girls' side came down to their matchup. Jefferson and Struthers, they're done playing each other, so it's pretty much go out and play everybody else and let the chips fall where they may. There's no more playing each other to decide the conference championship.
And then the EOAC is just like, what is happening?
By the way, in that EOAC, Wellsville last night got the win, and Bug Thompson, 300th career victory for him. So congratulations to Coach on that big milestone win out of conference that they got the win last night.
Yeah, does a great job, does Bug Thompson over there too. And I mean, it really sets things up in the EOAC for a very, very interesting finish, considering that any one of the three teams can take it, honestly.
Yeah, and I agree. And we want one more score. Going to get the Louisville one really quick for the boys basketball matchup last night, as Louisville beat Norton 78-59, and they are now 14-5 on the season.
As Louisville, another big win for the Leopards, as they show just why they are not to be messed with.
They were led. Excuse me, Ty. They were led by, looking for their box score. Lewis had 15. No, actually, that's the wrong. Aljancic had 27.
Wow.
Nigro had 20. So those are two players right there, Aljancic and Nigro, that both put up a storm. That's 47 combined points for those two. And like we said when we had him on the Barrett Brothers nominee list, Aljancic is just a straight-up scorer.
Yeah. Anthony, correct me if I'm wrong. Did we say that Valley Christian and Wellsville game was
next Tuesday? Yes, it's next Tuesday.
So we have a Thursday matchup with Columbiana for Wellsville this week, and then next Tuesday versus Valley Christian. And all three of those teams have 3 losses in the EOAC.
It will be decided.
Yeah, it's going to get real interesting. Big games on the network. You got to stay tuned for the EOAC games for sure.
Big games on the network tonight as well. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll dive into the Division III boys bracket, go through where each of our teams lie and what matchups they'll have. And then we will also do our picks for tonight. I believe there's 10 games happening tonight, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll do those picks and wrap up this show after this break on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air,
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
online,
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
on social media, and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
Severe weather threats now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. And Ty, let's dive into these Division III boys brackets, and let's start with the district seeding, as we always do. And this one seed is given to, shocker, Springfield.
And not really too surprising.
Campbell gets to 2. So
you're looking at this is the Salem district, right?
this is just the seedings. So we're not in a bracket yet.
Oh, okay. You're just looking
Straight
at
up seedings.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm going to read the seedings first, and then we'll go into the brackets. So listen to these top 4, though. Springfield, Camel, Jefferson, Liberty are the top 4 seeds in this district. Crazy.
We just got to see Liberty. We've seen Springfield no losses. Camel with just 1. What was the other one? Liberty was number 4. Who's 3?
Jefferson.
And Jefferson's been a big candidate inside that NE8. They've been contending, and they've won a lot of games inside the NE8, including a really good Struthers team.
All right, 5 is Mooney, 6 is LeBray, 7 is Newton Falls, 8 Garrettsville, Garfield, 9 Southeast, 10 is Cardinal. You have 11 at Pymatuning Valley, 12 at Grand Valley, 13 at Columbiana, 14 at Berkshire. Kirtland gets the 15 seed. 16 seed is United, 17 South Range, 18 seeded Rootstown, 19 seeded Waterloo, 20 is seeded Crestview. Then we have 21 at Champion, 22 at Mineral Ridge, 23 Conneaut, 24 East Palestine, and 25 is Crestwood. Only one winless team in the district, that is Crestwood at the bottom at 0-15. Everyone else has at least 2 wins on their slate.
Impressive, very impressive.
So we go from there, and let's go into the Salem district and talk about how this bracket lines up. It will be the top of the bracket will be Springfield. They will not have a bye. They'll have their first round matchup against Crestwood, the 25 seed. And then the winner will go on to play East Palestine, the 24 seed. You go to the next line of the bracket. It is Garrettsville Garfield, the 8th seed, playing Berkshire. And the winner of that will play the winner of Kirtland against Newton Falls. That is 7th seeded Newton Falls against 15th seeded Kirtland. That game is going on the 22nd at 7. All these sectional semifinals are going on the 22nd at 7 as well. Move on to the bottom of the bracket. Pymatuning Valley, the 11th seed, will play host to South Range. Rematch last year's district semifinal, where Pymatuning Valley got the win and eventually lost to Springfield in the final. So South Range looking for some tournament revenge this year around. Winner will go on to play Liberty, the 4 seed, and in the second round of the bracket. And the last line of the bracket, you have Cardinal Mooney, the 5 seed. They will play Mineral Ridge, 22nd seed. Winner will play Crestview, the 20th seed. So Cardinal Mooney with a chance at 2 home tournament games.
They do, and I tell you what, that Mineral Ridge one is a sneaky competitive team too. So, I mean, Mineral Ridge has been able to compete with some good teams too. So that one might be a sneaky good one for our first game.
That would be a big upset, and it would also give Crestview a home tournament game.
That would be incredible too. Imagine Crestview getting a
And it
home.
would guarantee that a 20 or 22 seed is getting into the district semifinal.
That would be, and that's the beautiful thing. Anything could happen. We saw it in football. Number 1 seed got upset. I should say.
Yeah, one. It happened once in the high school football season. That once meant the OHSA could go. See, it's possible.
It is, and
we're gonna keep doing it because one team won.
Basketball is if one kid's going off and just sinking shots.
Zepco hits a hot streak and just starts drilling threes.
I mean, you never know. Never know.
District semifinals and championships will be held at Salem High School. Semifinals will be on March 1st at 7 o'clock. Actually, the semifinals are going to be staggered, unlike the girls being played in the same day. The semifinals, first one, the top of the bracket, will be on the 28th of February at 7, and the bottom semifinal will be on the 1st at 7. And then the championship at Salem will be on the 4th at 7 o'clock.
Yep, and I mean, it should be very, very interesting. The other one is, I believe, in Howland for us.
Yeah, we go to the Howland district. We'll lay out this bracket, see how it looks. The top line reads like this. Conneaut will have the bye at the 23rd seed, and then you will have the 3 seed Jefferson Falcons taking on champion, the 21st seed. Winner gets to play Conneaut, the 23 seed. So the winner of that game gets to host no matter what, whether it be champion or Jefferson. The next line is LeBray. They are the 6th seed. They will get the bye and await the winner. Await the winner of Waterloo against Southeast. That is a 9 versus 19 matchup in that side of the bracket. We'll go to the bottom half, and it'll be Middlefield Cardinal, the 10 seed, playing United, the 16 seed. The winner there will play the Grand Valley 12 seed that has the bye. So you look at that. Cardinal has a chance to host. If United beats them, they'll have to travel to Grand Valley. Camel Memorial gets the 2 seed, and they are on the bottom line of the bracket. They have a bye and will await the winner of Columbiana versus Rootstown. Interesting game there, 13 versus 18. Might be the most interesting game of the sectional semifinals in either of those 2 brackets.
Yeah, honestly, and I mean, there's a lot of great games that could happen out of this too, and a lot of great matchups that we could see. And I'm really excited to see how it's going to play out too.
Those district semifinals will be held the same structure as the Salem ones. 28th at 7 for the top line of the bracket. The bottom line of the bracket will be the 1st at 7 for the semifinals, and your championship for the district will be at Howland on the 4th at 7 o'clock.
Anthony, did we do our teams at Border West Virginia yet? Have we done the East Liverpool, Beaver Local, and Edison? Because Edison's in D3, East 1 district. And I mean, I know it's just one game. They're in the Region 11 Athens district. Richmond Edison plays West Lafayette Ridgewood. It's Edison the 17, Ridgewood the 4 seed. And then I'm not sure, is East Liverpool and Beaver Local D2?
They're both D2, I believe.
I wanted to double check because I don't believe we read them off, and I know we always forget about it because we have the 2 districts right here, but then they're down in the East district, I think, in the Athens.
Which I'm looking at it's Division 2, Lakeside, Boardman, Canton, North Ridgeville, and Stowe. Are they not in any of those 5 districts?
They're down in the Athens district, the East in the Athens one.
That's why I missed them. They're not even on the Northeast.
They're in a different one.
Yeah.
Beaver Local is the 10 seed taking on 11 seeded Millersburg West home. So Beaver Local will have a home playoff game, and then they would await. Well, there has to be a sectional semi between Indian Creek and Minerva that would play Tri-Valley, and then the winner of that game with Tri-Valley would play the winner of Beaver Local and West Homes.
All right, so that'll do it for that. Tomorrow we'll go into Division 4 and line out those districts and see where they stand as well.
East
Time
Liverpool.
for our picks, as we have about 12 minutes to go, and we have not as many games as the normal day on Wednesday, but still got games to pick. If you want to pick along with us, you can go over to our Twitter. The handle is at Running Point YSN. You can find the polls thread there and pick along with me and Ty. We always love to hear who the fans think will win these games. And Ty, tonight we start with Jackson Milton hosting Waterloo on senior night. The Vikings have 57% of the fan vote. I won last night, and I'm going to make you take this one because I know Waterloo is your sweetheart team.
Yeah, and I'm going to take the sweetheart team as well.
Let's see. I'm down 12 with like what?
Not a whole lot of time. I mean, you got.
Are we cutting off this at the regular season and starting a new on the brackets, or are we just extending the whole game into tournaments?
I don't know, because I feel like
I know we're doing a separate bracket challenge. We're going to fill out the whole bracket, but obviously we have to pick it live as well as the game's results, no matter what we pick. So do you want to do that, continuing this, and then do the bracket challenge? I think we should do that. And I'm not going to say that because I'm now at 12, and I need more time.
Want the chance to get back into it. We can. I don't care.
All right, we're going to do that then. So Jackson, Milton, Waterloo, since we have time, I'm going to split.
You'll go Jackson Milton.
I'll go Jackson Milton on senior night. They're going to honor 4 seniors, 3 of them by class. One of them, though, they're going to honor Carla Blankenford as a senior as well, since it's her first and last year with the team. She'll be back in Spain next season.
It's a cool moment for Blankenford.
So now we go to the next poll, and it is going to be my first pick, Copley going to Fitch, and the poll is split 50-50. I'm not rocking against the banner. I'm going to pick Fitch.
Yeah, I'll pick Fitch as well. I'll go with the Lady Falcons.
Lakeside goes to Jefferson. This is a girls' basketball game. 100% of the vote going to the Falcons. Ty, it's your first pick.
Yeah, give me Jefferson.
I'll take Jefferson as well. Boys game next on the docket. It is Sebring going to Lowville, and the Rockets have 100% of the vote. I'll take the Rockets.
Yeah, I'll ride with the Rockets as well.
Your first pick next, another boys matchup. Chalker will travel to Wyndham. They have 100% of the fan vote.
Yeah, give me Chalker.
You're going to go against the banner.
No, I'm going to go Bombers.
I was about to say, wait a minute. I'm going to split with you so fast. Give me the Bombers as well, as I think they'll win. Back to girls action. Liberty will travel to Camel to wrap up their MVAC slate. They've already won the conference, but they can go and put a nail in the coffin, per se, as they travel to Camel. And shockingly enough, Camel not without votes. They have 33% of the vote. Liberty has 67. Sorry, you're 33%. You're nuts. Liberty's going to win this game.
Yeah, I got to go Liberty as well.
We go to Ursuline United. Right now, the Eagles have 67% of the fan vote. This is girls basketball, by the way. I know we've been kind of interchanging them. So girls basketball, United has 67% in Hanoverton. It's your first pick.
I'll take the Lady Eagles.
I'll take the Eagles as well to get this win. Good non-conference matchup before tournament time. Western Reserve travels to Lisbon. This one, 2 quarters JV. It'll start at about 6:15. Lisbon has 100% of the fan vote. That's kind of surprising.
This is girls.
This is girls. I'll have the first pick. I'll take Western Reserve.
Yeah, I'm rocking with the Western Reserve as well.
Back to boys. It's Lindsley against East Liverpool, and it's split 50-50 on the fan vote. Ty, your first pick.
I'm going to take East Liverpool, and just to shout them out real quick, they are the 3 seed in that East District. They're playing Carrollton, the 15, and the winner would play St. Clairsville and Warsaw Riverview.
I'm going to take East Liverpool as well. I'm not going to split with you there and rock against the banner in that game. West Branch versus Marlington. Back to girls basketball. And boy, is so much on the line. Salem's going to be watching this game with nail-biting thing, because if West Branch wins, it forces a 3-way tie at the top of the EBC. Salem, West Branch, Minerva will all have 2 losses in the conference. If Marlington wins, they get it outright. It's done. It's theirs. If they have 1 win, everyone else would have 2 or 3. So it's kind of the EBC championship on the line tonight in Marlington. West Branch won on a buzzer beater the first time, Ty. I believe it's my first pick this time. It didn't work out in my favor. You know what? really don't want to pick against West Branch. I really don't. But I also don't want to lose to you. And I feel like if I pick West Branch, you'll go and pick Marlington because you don't care about being the bad guy. You're wearing the black shirt.
Yeah, black shirt.
But if I pick Marlington, are you going to split with me and go West Branch? Or are you just going to rock the Marlington as well? And then we look like super losers because neither one of us picked West Branch to win this game. My poor little heart. I can't go against the banner in this one. I get West Branch, and I'm hoping for absolute chaos in the ABC. Give me the Warriors.
Give me Coach DeShields and the Warriors.
Awesome. Yeah, we don't split. We both take West Branch. I love it. Hopefully they get the win, and we can have actually that fan vote, by the way, just went up from 50-50 to 67% Marlington, by the way. So boo on you. Champion goes to Crestview. This is a girls basketball game, senior night in Rebel Country, and it's 50-50 split. Ty, it's your first pick.
And this was girls, you said?
Girls basketball, senior night in Crestview.
Crestview's only lost twice at home this season. They've been very good. I'm a believer of Champion now, though. After the week they've had, I'm a believer. I know they didn't beat Liberty, but they came darn close to it, and they had a much better performance. Give me the Flashes.
I'll take Champion as well on this one to get the win. We have a couple more to wrap up. Girard girls heading to Badger on the road is an on-conference matchup for Girard. They have 100% of the fan vote. I've seen more at Girard. I know more about Girard. I'll take Girard.
Okay, Girard.
All right, we both take Girard. We go to Lisbon versus Heartland Christian. Girls matchup here, I believe, or is this boys? I forget. I would have put boys if it was boys, I think. No. Let's see. I'm on the wrong day. This is boys basketball. I forgot to mark it as a boys game, but Lisbon traveling to Heartland Christian. Boys basketball. Lisbon has 67% of the vote.
Lisbon's been having a great season too. My first pick.
Yep.
I can't go against Heartland at home though. I got to go with the Lions.
Yep. I can't pick against Johnny Buckets. I'll take Heartland as well. Last but not least, Salem hitting the road. Girls basketball. They'll play Alliance tonight. Obviously, that whole West Branch Marlington three-way tie hinges on Salem also taking care of business against the Aviators. I think they will. I'll take Salem to get the win on the road.
Unless Alliance just wants to throw a monkey wrench the size of a gorilla into the ZBs. I'm going Salem as well. Give me the Lady Quakers.
All right, that does it for our picks. That does it for our show. And let's look at what we have tomorrow because we all of a sudden have a very busy day as far as guests go. Ty, you want to promote the guests that you were able to go and get yourself?
Yeah, so what you got at 12:15, we got Coach Canarino that's going to be appearing as Camels one win away inside the conference from at least getting a share of the MVAC Gray Side conference title. We also got Kara Hahn of the Austin Town Fitch Wheelchair Falcons.
Very excited for this because we're going to be talking to her about the program, the whole idea of having high school wheelchair basketball, what it does for those people, and of course, just the scope of probably getting into a little bit of a Special Olympics talk too.
On top of that, too, the guest that she's going to be bringing too kind of coordinates and runs the program as well, and I think his name is Viverka, Mr. Viverka, that's going to be doing it, and he does basketball Adaptive Sports Ohio is what he's for. Is trying to get the name of it, so we'll have him on as well. So exciting, special kind of interview for tomorrow.
And then we'll have also Sehan Dede, senior from Girard, leading off the show at 12 to talk about her senior season and that game-winning free throw that she hit against Lakeview on Saturday as well. So Sehan Dede at 12, and then we have Canarino at 12:15, talk Camel, and then we have Kara Hahn and some people from Fitch Wheelchair Basketball to talk about Adaptive Sports Ohio coming on at 1, right? 1?
Yep, 1 o'clock tomorrow.
So all of that plus recaps, picks, and the Division 4 district for the boys coming up tomorrow from 12 to 2. We're taking a 22-hour break. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next. What's this DJ Folkley getting in the last second?
Remember, ramen noodles are bae. And Zoo Wee mama, Anthony. He's putting in an order, Ant. You got to start taking the order. You got the headset on.
Yeah, this is you want a value meal for an extra $2? What can I get you to drink here for our value meal here?
I don't know.
All right, we got to go. 1:59. We're bumping into casual sports. We'll see you all tomorrow from 12 to 2. 22-hour break for me and Ty.
See ya.